That's how long it took me to learn a 14-line Shakespeare sonnet. Now, I don't go in for memory tricks, and I actually think for actors they can be a bit of a problem. If you're doing a Hamlet monologue and you're thinking about some sort of memory palace while performing your lines, how can you connect to the given circumstances of the scene? You can't. However, I think I have finally found a line learning technique that doesn't require some weird memory trick, and it actually works. This line learning technique has allowed me to learn lines way quicker. At the start of this video, I showed you how long it took me to learn a 14-line Shakespeare sonnet. To learn another sonnet of exactly the same length and style using my traditional process, it was around 4 times slower. So a huge improvement. And the great thing about it is it's super simple, really easy to learn, and I just hope you're gonna fall in love with it as much as I have. So step 1, get a pad of paper. Richard, here we are. The more outrageously big, the better. Then of course you need your monologue that you're gonna work on for today. And then, nailed it. Marker pen will be very helpful, especially for me showing you this today. And we have everything we need to get started. So next up, you just want to get familiar with the text. So read it over, I reckon at least 3 or 4 times. Get a good sense of what's going on, look up any unfamiliar words. You know, one of the reasons when we're working, particularly with things like Shakespeare, why it's so difficult to learn those lines is a lot of actors just don't know what they're saying. So look up those unfamiliar words and really try to understand the thoughts behind the lines, and that's really gonna help. So for whatever you're working on right now, read it through at least 3 or 4 times before we get stuck into the actual technique, which we're gonna have a look at right now. So once you're familiar with the text, we're gonna get into it. Now, as I said, this process is super simple. All we are going to do is write the first letter of every word out onto our pad. So we've been using a bit of Shakespeare so far. We're gonna look at a more contemporary example for this. This is a piece from Chekhov's The Cherry Orchard. So what we're gonna do is, as I said, write the first letter of the piece. So I, obviously, we're gonna put a lovely I. Then B, I bought it. Now it's important to put in punctuation, particularly when you're working with a great writer like Chekhov. So here we go. Lovely little ellipsis there. And then we're gonna do the next line. I bought it, exclamation mark. Does that make sense? So we're putting the first letter of every word onto the page. Super simple. So let's get this all down on the page and see how it looks. And also work on your handwriting as well. So there we have it. It should look something like this, complete and utter nonsense, but I promise you, this is going to change your life. It is so good. So now what we can do is we can rip up the original script. Actually, maybe don't do that because we may still need to reference it. But what we want to do from here on out is we want to try to learn it now just using the first letter in front of us. So we want to go through and not have to refer to the original. So I bought it. So I'm doing it just off the cues of the first letter. Now, if you're already pretty familiar, you might actually find just following along this video, you can probably already do it. It really does happen very quickly. But just test yourself and work through it until whatever piece you're working on, you can do it effortlessly just by using the first letter. And that is all you've got to do. If you really have to, go back to the script, but really we want to try and just use this. Then we can move on to the final step. So this is always a scary bit with any line learning process. We want to go from using our script into purely using our memory. So all we do now, once we've got familiar with it, once we can do it easily just from the letters, we're going to do it just from memory. I bought it. One moment, wait if you would. Ladies and cool. So if you make a mistake like that, all you got to do is just come back to the letters, not to the original script. So why this is such a powerful technique, I believe, is because we're creating a little bridge in our memory. Instead of normally when we're learning lines, we kind of keep going back to the original script and you can kind of be quite lazy with it. I think what the letters do is they serve as like a little gateway to your memory. So even when you make a mistake, you're actually still working on learning the lines because you're actually just going to the letters rather than going to the original. And that is literally it. So you get familiar with the script, then you write out all of the letters and all of the punctuation, then you try to learn that effortlessly so you can learn it really easily just using the sort of code of the letters. And then just as normal, you go into your memory, you try and do it without using the script. And just as always, go through section by section. Once you've got a bit, go on to the next bit, then go back to the top so that you're kind of locking in all the sections as you go through. And honestly, it's that simple. So there you go. It's a really, really simple process. And as I say, it has really, really helped my line learning ability. I'm so much quicker at the moment. And why I love it again is because it's not a trick. It's just a way of coding the information and getting it into your brain. You're not thinking about the letters when you perform. So I just think it makes your line learning ability way better, way quicker. It's awesome. I hope that's helped. I hope you've enjoyed that. Go and learn a scene, monologue, poem, get stuck in. And if you enjoyed this video, smash that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. It really, really helps us and means a lot. And hopefully we get to connect again very soon.